Ladies and gentlemen, we might commence our proceedings for tonight so we can stay with the time. Before we begin our proceedings, I would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. It's upon the ancestral lands that we meet tonight. As we seek to advance our knowledge through the activities of the Guild, may we also respect the knowledge embedded forever within the Aboriginal custodianship of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Fred Osman, and as the Teachers Guild of New South Wales President, I would like to welcome you this evening to join in celebrating the occasion of the 2017 World Teachers' Day celebration at the beautiful venue of the Pennant Hills Golf Club. The Teachers Guild of New South Wales this year celebrates a long, impressive and honourable history of service, support and training for the vocation of teaching, always maintaining its foundation aimed to promote in all possible ways the care of education. The Guild represents teachers from all levels and promotes a long established theme of deep interest in the professional development and encouragement of colleague educators, providing opportunities for members of the profession to network, refine skills and receive recognition. As the longest established professional organisation for teachers in Australia, the Guild has for 125 years been an important influence in the history of education in New South Wales and continues its commitment to the care of teaching, standing on the shoulders of past and current members who have helped to shape education in this state and positively enrich countless number of school students' lives. It's been a delight to see the ongoing development of the Guild, to recognise the impact it is having on the teaching profession, and to acknowledge the reinforcement and encouragement it is providing for the awards to some truly outstanding contributions in our profession. The World Teachers' Day is an opportunity to publicly acknowledge the work of all teachers. These awards recognise the outstanding professional contribution to education made by teachers. On these important occasions, we celebrate and acknowledge the achievements of our teachers in an increasingly complex, multicultural and technological society. The Teachers Guild of New South Wales greatly admire the commitment of teachers in the commitment of professional knowledge, improving teaching practice, in engaging with their students and in ongoing relationships with the wider community. I'd like to congratulate your contributions to an informed and cohesive society and wish you every success and the fulfilment of the future. Congratulations to everyone in this room on making a difference in the lives of our students. The program this evening will include hearing from our distinguished guest, Dr. Ken Silburn, Head Teacher Science at Casula High School, Coordinator and founder of iSTEM, Invigorating Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics, sharing his story from being an ex-student of Punchbowl Boys High to becoming a global teacher ambassador. The presentation of the 2017 World Teachers Recognition Citations in honouring teachers who have made a wonderful contribution to their school in advancing their education profession. The presentation of the 2017 Research Award, which is offered to a postgrad student or an experienced teacher who is currently completing or completed a research of direct benefit to classroom teaching. And the presentation of the 2017 Honorary Fellow of the Teachers Guild of New South Wales, recognising an outstanding educator who have made major contributions to both within the mainstream sphere of work and more broadly across the profession. On your tables, you will find a copy of our dinner program for this evening. Our distinguished speaker tonight, Dr. Silburn, is the only teacher to have made the top 10 in the world. It's been an incredible few years for science teacher Dr. Ken Silburn. He's received a slew of awards and accolades in recognition of his work in classroom, staff room, and the education community. Even so, 2017 has promised to be something special after making the top 10 finalists in the $1 million Global Teaching Prize. Dr. Silburn is the only Australian in the shortlist of the Varkey Foundation Award. The top 10 was selected from more than 20,000 nominations and represented 37 countries. Ken Silburn is a science educator, a communicator, a certified Google trainer, passionate about teaching 21st century skills while increasing the educational opportunities of students on a global scale. Ken graduated at the University of Wollongong, Western Sydney University, and the Honeywell US Space Academy for Educators Program. He is internationally renowned in science education, especially in the area of environmental and space science. He is strongly advocate for engaging students in STEM careers and is currently a member of the advisory body for the International Mars One project and a director of the Australian Mars Society. He has participated in NASA spaceward-bound expeditions to the Mojave Desert, USA, Pilbara and Akarula expeditions in Australia, and in 2016 was a member of education team for the NASA Indian expedition to Latka region. Ken is passionate for increasing awareness of the environment, and sustainability is echoed in his role as a volunteer presenter for the Australian Conservation Foundation Climate Reality Project. In 2016, Ken personally commenced a long-term project to provide science outreach programs and teacher professional development activities to Indian schools, a project that he hopes to replicate around the globe. As part of his program, Ken also works with the Indian Department of Education to produce training videos on science education, and the resulting series will be a broadcast to excess of 2.5 million students. Ken was a recipient of the 2013 New South Wales State Award for Innovation in Science and Mathematics and the 2014 New South Wales Australian Institute of Physics Award for Community Outreach. In 2015, he received the Australian Prime Minister's Prize, Science Prize for Excellence in Secondary Science Teaching. Apart from being recognised as one of the top 10 teachers in the world, earlier this year, in August, Ken was also the recipient of the prestigious Dr. Paul Brock Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Ken Silburn.
Thank you. You're right. Okay, before I go on to this slide, I have to tell you about water. Okay, water is dihydrogen monoxide, right? H2O. And I find I always have to tell this to people before I read this, because if people don't know that it's H2O, then it could be really bad. Let me just try. Okay, Ken has been a science teacher for 25 years. It's actually, I started teaching in 1988, so it's got a bit more. He has easy access to chemicals. For the past 9 years, he has been adding dihydrogen monoxide to his morning coffee. Ken is now addicted. Without DHMO, he will die in 3 days. He continues to teach. Now, if I don't talk about dihydrogen monoxide, then half of the room will be going, "Oh, this poor guy, how awful." But the other half will be going, "This is disgusting. Why is he in front of children?" But we need to have people that know about science, and we need to have people that are educated. So my big push over the last couple of years is talking about science by doing. But when I first started teaching back in 1988, the big buzzword was engagement. So when I was teaching at Ayres High School, if you could engage the students, which really meant that they were sitting down in their chairs, then if they enjoyed what they were doing, then you got the big tick. But really, it's a case of the next step is we actually do have to educate. We've got to make sure that kids have got those basic skills that they can actually achieve. And it doesn't matter how intelligent you are, it doesn't matter how good you are at science, if you cannot read and write, if you cannot communicate, then forget it. You won't pass on any of your ideas. And the next thing which we hope that we can do is, for some of our students, we can actually inspire them to do more. Okay, very global at the moment. There's so many things that we can do that's not just in our classroom. I did say about Punchbowl Boys High School. Which one is me? Yeah, okay, this one over here. Cool, yeah, still look the same. My son actually, please don't laugh, boy. But if you think about Punchbowl Boys High School with an Army Cadet unit back in the late 70s, could you do that now? Now, what would the community think if you had kids running around with rifles? Okay, it just wouldn't work. But it's amazing how times have changed. And education has also changed a lot too. Okay, iSTEM, just when we started off the iSTEM program, it was just, we knew what STEM was, but we wanted to put the I in front of it because for kids, anything that's interesting had to have an I. That was it. So nothing really super good. Okay, I do have a family, my wife, daughter-in-law, and one of our dogs. My oldest son, Alan, who for the last year, he actually was getting N awards when he was in year 11 for mathematics. So who are the mathematics teachers in the room? Okay, right, well, he wasn't doing well at school, but he wanted to be a paramedic, and last year he actually took on that dream. Then there's Dave. Dave actually finished at year 11 and chops down trees, earns more than me doing that, but that's his business. Brad, who's a cool dude of the family, and William, my grandson. So you go, okay, now that was a very pathetic by the way. I've actually got 2 grandsons, so that's Austin. Yeah, that's a much better cool. And when you're overseas, can I just tell you, never ever ask your family, are they missing you? I was over in India, phoned home, and I was talking to my daughter, and she said, I said, are people missing me? And she said, no. No. The only living thing that was actually missing me was my dog Echo, because of the night time it would come in and just sit down beside my chair, just waiting. But I think it was just to get out of the cold, but it was a nice story. Okay, I do pretend to ride a motorbike on weekends every once in a while. I'm Ken Silburn, and I'm the head teacher of science at Casula High School, which is a school in New South Wales, Australia. Good morning. What we want students to be able to do is to take control of their learning and to be inspired and engaged in what they do.
Set, go.
Not a normal classroom teacher.
He's very spontaneous, he's very enthusiastic when he comes to class.
He doesn't just teach it, he preaches it.
The way he explains stuff, he wants to tell stories a lot.
And once he's got them hooked, then he brings out his air rockets and his, experiments with this and that.
That type of learning, 21st century learning, problem solving, that isn't in a conventional sort of classroom setting is not just really exciting for the kids, it's really exciting for the teacher.
If you just read from a book, maybe some of that information gets into your head. But if you actually get your hands into the subject and do it, then you learn.
Because Mr. Silburn is doing science, a lot more people are choosing science.
It's really motivating to see that a teacher has so much passion for his students.
Cows move softly, okay, which really... I think I'm lucky because people, when they get to my age, they tend to have hobbies. Well, I get paid to do my hobby. For me, teaching isn't from 9 till 5. It's after school, weekends, working with other teachers. I wouldn't say I'm a geek. I love technology, and I like to use it in the classroom, and I like to use it myself.
Ken is a great teacher because he just doesn't stop. It's quite common to get emails from Ken between 2 and 4 in the morning.
If I'm tired, I sleep. If I'm awake, I'll just get up and I'll do work. Good morning. Our region, southwest of Sydney, it's just been behind the 8 ball when it comes to education.
We often get kids who don't believe that they can achieve.
As if they think, no, I can't do it, it's too hard, then it is too hard. But if they have this belief that they can do it, even if they have a problem as they go through, then they will solve that problem and they'll have success.
A lot of the teachers that teach here grew up in the area in southwest Sydney, so we intimately understand the challenges that the kids go through.
My family actually didn't have that much money.
Ken's just like one of these kids. He smashed a glass ceiling many years ago.
I was the first and only person in my family to go to university because I had teachers that had faith in me. It's obvious that good teaching changes lives. 6 years ago, we created a program called iSTEM. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, to open up opportunities for students regardless of their school. And that's actually developed now into basically a multinational project. We had a student at Space Camp a few years ago, Daniel, who was confronted with a fictitious problem that was given to him. One of his crew members on the spacecraft had a heart attack, and he came up just immediately with this ingenious idea of, let's use the aluminium foil we've got, these wires, these batteries, let's make our own defibrillator. And Daniel actually received an award called The Right Stuff.
Everything of my life was changed from that point. I wanted to be able to fly amongst the stars.
We're actually able to show them that you can aspire to do anything that you want to. It makes their horizon open up.
The number of students that he would have helped in Australia would be thousands, but internationally, I know that there are way beyond the thousands.
Ken has been able to take what we do at Cashula High, what we all passionately believe in, and take it to other children around the world.
It doesn't matter where a kid is in the world, a kid's a kid. And the same experiments and activities I do with my students. When I was in India, I was able to do that too. My generation won't be able to solve the problems that we're having in the world with climate change and with overpopulation, but our next generation will. And it's really important that we actually give them the skills and the belief that they can solve those problems. Because I have a belief that it doesn't matter where you are in the world, it doesn't matter about how much money you have, you should have the same opportunity that students at my school have. You don't receive those awards by yourself. Okay? You receive it because you've got great staff that are there, that turn up for work and do exactly what you do. Also, I've got some great students, and I've been lucky. Because of, when people have picked up a piece of paper and I've been nominated, there's 50 people get nominated for an award, and you look at it and you think, the top 10 could easily get that award. How do you choose it? The same like on when you choose who's going to come first in science, who's going to come Ducks of the Year. Okay, there's so many people that could get it. So I've been very, very lucky. The other thing too is I've developed a good idea of taking lots of photos, and it's really important, I think, for us to do that now. Take lots of photos of kids doing stuff and get it out into the media. So the more photos you've got out there that are really good quality photos, get them into the local newspapers, get them into your P&C journals. Okay, electricity. We used to do just boring stuff with electricity, but then we went to the next step and we went to the Sydney Powerhouse Museum, and our students were doing courses on Arduinos and coding. So we started doing tinkering, pulling things to pieces, and kids loved it. We also found that with our school, when I first started teaching at Cashula High School back in 2000, we had a very small cohort of students that were picking science for Year 11, Year 12. As a result of students getting lots of hands-on activities and enjoying science, they pick it for Year 11, Year 12. So For our school in the southwest of Sydney, about 2/3 of our kids pick a science subject for Year 11, Year 12. And some of those actually pick more than one. I'll come back to this guy and this water rocket a bit later, but he looks like he's actually having a good time there. That water rocket, we actually had a team, or we had a competition at school, and then we had one team which we entered into the Australian Championship. So they actually went down to Melbourne and competed against all these other countries. So that they were quite happy with that. The following year, we actually had another team that actually went to Vietnam and represented Australia. And it was by making these silly water rockets. It was incredible. Okay, engage, educate and inspire. If I can give you some homework tonight, can you just remember the person or the teacher that inspired you at school, and then make a point tomorrow, phone them up, write them a letter and say thank you. I was quite lucky. No, it wasn't Einstein. There was my great teacher was Bill Fraser, a music teacher I had at Punchbowl Boys High. He actually passed away last year, but always took an interest in what we were doing, even after we left school. Just a tremendous person. Okay, who's this guy? Albert Einstein. Everybody knows Albert Einstein. And that what's he doing? Thinking, okay, pointing to his head. But one thing about selfies, can I just tell you, always be careful if you have a selfie, check what's in the background. I did the Einstein lectures a couple of years ago, and the local newspaper came out and they took a photo of him behind me. When it's pixelated, it doesn't look like it's that finger. And I think that's really important, but there we go back to the proof that it was that finger, but just with the pixelation doesn't look too good. But Albert Einstein, we always think about him as being an old person. Okay? At one stage in his life, he was young. He was in a classroom, looking quite debonair, but he was in a classroom, and the chances are, at your school, you've got Einsteins. I'd hope you do. But we've got to make sure that we nurture those Einsteins so that they will actually pick up science and do what they want to do when they leave school. Okay. I'm really passionate about STEM, but the reason we need STEM is because we need superheroes. At the moment, we've got problems, of course, of global warming, and Fred spoke about the fact that I'm really passionate about the environment. But when you consider the amount of drying that's going on in Australia with drought, when you consider the changes in weather patterns around the world, this was in India. Okay, you can imagine the floods the effect on millions and millions of people. We also have the effect now that we need to get rid of CO2 emissions, so we've got to try and find alternate ways, and we can only do that by having students to solve the problems, because we won't be able to, not at our age. And also food production. Our population is getting so big, probably in about 15 years' time, there will be a crunch time that we will not be able to, as a world, feed what we've got here. So food's going to be really expensive, and we need to make sure that we've got an income so that we can actually buy the food. So you've got people, India, Narendra, I forget his surname now. Modi, yep. He's still our Prime Minister. It hasn't changed, I hope. But they are both promoting the idea of spending money on STEM because they realise that's what we have to do in order for our students to be able to survive in 15 years' time. India is doing it at a grand scale, just pouring money into education. It's incredible. Now, there's William. I wonder what William will be doing when he's 15. Okay, what his life will be. Probably slightly different from what we've got. Just on the money side, 2013, just income to Australia because of what we do with technology, $63 billion. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Back in around 2009, I applied for a scholarship to go to the Space Academy or Space Camp over in Huntsville. So I received this telephone call, got told, yep, Ken, yep, you're on, all expenses paid, and I thought, terrific. And so I jumped on a plane, went off to the US, actually took my son, my youngest son, Bradley. This is at the Exploratorium, which was in San Francisco. But I just enjoyed Space Camp so much. I actually thought it was going to be one of those places where you just dress up and pretend that you're doing astronaut type things and really nerdy. But when you're actually doing all of the activities which are designed for educating students, this is with teachers, or doing the things with, there's a water rocket again. But all of the activities like the multi-axis trainer and just being connected by wires and floating off, it's incredible. In fact, when I came back and I showed this photo to my Year 7 class, they actually thought that was my wife because we were holding hands. I thought that was really sweet. Okay. I was then lucky enough 2 years later to go back for the Advanced Academy course. And that was just before the Atlantis took off. So we were actually able to walk underneath it, and that was just incredible. And San Francisco. Now, the one thing I was saying about opportunities, once you get one opportunity and people look on paper and they think, oh, this guy did this, he must be good. Okay, it doesn't mean you are good, but they think on paper, yeah, he looks good. Then you get to do other things. So I got to go to the Mojave Desert for 2 weeks with a NASA expedition and play in the desert. That was me going, wow, look how big this place is. Then when NASA decided to do an expedition to Australia, to the Pilbara, they thought, who do we know in Australia? So I got the invite to do some driving and some work with them again. And it's a bit of an eye-opener when you look at the different communities that actually exist around Australia and around the world too. And I had the pleasure of trying out one of their spacesuits. Does it look exciting? Okay, film crew there. This was rubber with straps like leather type material so it wouldn't actually get too big. But imagine the Pilbara being very hot. The air conditioning on the back wasn't working too well. So after about 2 minutes, you would just fog up. And the only way you could walk was to actually tilt your head forward, swish the water around, have a look through the little clear bit and then take a few more steps. So it was a bit scary. Inside these gloves, you actually wore white cotton gloves that were stuck onto your wrist. If you placed your hands down, you could feel the sweat build up to around your knuckles, just up to about here. Pretty gross, especially when you consider I was the third person to wear the suit. But that's what you do for science. Okay. After enjoying Space Camp, I decided to actually take students to Space Camp. So all these nice photos of kids having a good time, all smiling. But we started that in 2010, and every year we've taken a group of students away, normally around 30 or 40 students. What we did find though, in our first year, we were running team building exercises for students, just that were going, but only for the kids that were going. And we had hundreds of kids that wanted to go, that were just keen on science. So that's why we started the iSTEM program. I also applied to go on a teacher tour of India. Now that was really good because looks like I've got bullet holes to the head, but that was with principals and school leaders. Because of that, when I actually applied for last year to NASA was doing an expedition to North India to Ladakh, which is the highest place on earth that you can actually drive a car to. When they saw that, oh, this person's actually been to India, I got the tick. And but India was quite confronting. You know, the slums and the way which different people live can be really confronting. As part of that program, when I went with the principal program, the school took me on a goodwill expedition, and that was where some of their students would go out and give food to the community. And that was really hard because you can imagine all of these mothers are lined up on the floor, on the ground, in two lines. There was a guy walking around with a stick hitting them to make sure they were in line, and we were giving them cups and plates. And there was so much film going on, and I'm the Australian wearing the jacket, and I'm thinking, what expression do I put on my face? Because this was so bad. But I couldn't make it out to be bad, and I couldn't make it out that it was, smile. So I had this just blank look on my face. But we talk about education, and people complain when they run out of chalk or the temperature's too cold. Well, this was one school I went to in India, and absolutely amazing because this was it from the outside. It was just a tin shed. And the classes actually, some would look this way, and then the next class would look the opposite direction. But every kid on task. So they were quite happy. Okay, Ladakh. I was so lucky to be able to take this tripod to take 360 photos, because if I didn't have it, I would have just fallen over. The oxygen level is quite low. In fact, when you're in a plane, and as you're flying the plane, your chip packets expand because of the low pressure. Well, that was us in the bus, in the minivan. So it was quite high. It looks like we're all having a party, but that's what we used to wear at night, just to stay warm. And the NASA people were very interested in all of the ponds. But I wasn't there to do all the experiments. I was there to actually go to the schools. India, even though they speak English when they talk to you, there's always this breakdown in communication, which is, I think, they do it on purpose because they ask you, would you like to do something? And then you say yes, as if they're doing you a favour. This was one school, they said, would you like to actually talk to the school during their assembly and give a science lesson? Yes, I'd love to do that. This was their assembly. Okay, and I'm there with a microphone trying to give a science lesson. Incredible. Fred was saying about the TV shows I made for India. That was a case of, would you like to actually look at the distance education unit? Yes. Then it was, would you like to be part of a lesson? And I thought, yeah, that's okay. I'm used to doing that. I do it with the school kids at school. We talk to a couple of other schools at the same time. I rock up and it's a full film studio. And they've got all of the equipment that I've been using for teacher workshops already there. And would you mind doing one? That was good. Can you do another? And but it's just amazing. 2.5 million kids will actually said, oh, there's me with the air rockets are incredible. This is just plastic tubing that you can buy from Bunnings, and you just pressurise it and then release it super fast. But I think I'm the only person actually that's arrived in Abu Dhabi and India with my own rocket launcher. The last trip I actually took 12, and nobody questioned me until I got to the hotel. It was amazing. Also, which was really nice to be in Dubai, Wollongong University has got a campus in Dubai. And I thought, okay, it's amazing. The world's getting smaller. That's me pointing to me for the Global Teaching Prize. It was amazing in Dubai because the first prize was $1 million. And to be on stage in the top 10 and you think, well, there's a 1 in 10 chance of getting $1 million here. You know, it's not for you personally, it's for the project you'll work on with. But they just have such an emphasis on education. It's incredible. Okay, can you see Albert Einstein in the picture there? There is one female in this photo. Okay, people actually say that it's Madame Curie. I'm not 100% sure, but when I spoke about the way that the Australian government and India is pouring money into science education, one of the things which they are really doing good is they're pouring it into girls' education. Because if you consider back then, there's no females, we lost all of that intelligence and creativity for females that should have been there next to Albert Einstein solving the problems. And it's awful if we spend money on kids going to school but we don't go to the next step, then it's a massive waste. Okay, I've been talking, so we're going to do an experiment. If I just need one volunteer. Good, thank you. Oh, you actually had your hand up. Oh, well, look, can I get you to volunteer because you're at the back of the room? No, you just, all that you have to do is just to sit there, okay, and keep your eyes open. So what I'll do is I'll get everybody else to, if you're comfortable, because some people are not comfortable with the idea of closing your eyes in public, but you keep your eyes open so that I don't hit people on the back of the head or take photos of people, okay? So you're proof. And just relax, close your eyes please. Now I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I just want you to think about the answer to that question. So I don't want you to tell me the answer, just think about it. Okay, question is, what is your favourite food? Can you think about your favourite food? Think about the place you'd most like to be at the moment. Good, okay, eyes open. Okay, I'm going to quiz people now. When I point to you, can you yell out your favourite food? Okay. Fred? Pizza. Pizza? Okay, what type? Vegetarian. Oh, cool. Steak?
Spaghetti bolognese.
Spaghetti. You've got to think about this so you've got a food you can just say what it is.
Oh, me?
Yep.
Pasta.
Pasta. And you didn't even have to have your eyes closed? Pavlova. Okay. If we were to go right round the entire room, did anybody see the word for their favourite food? Did anybody see the word pavlova or pizza? But you saw the word? Oh, okay. But for most of us, we would have saw the picture of our favourite food. So think about that. We get kids to write lots and lots of stuff in books, yet they don't remember the words, but they remember the pictures. So if you can get them to put their ideas down with pictures, then during the night time, when they go into rapid eye movement, and they've got this deep sleep and they've put all these ideas in different compartments, if they tag it with pictures or with emotion, it sticks into their head. So just think about that. That's one thing for memory. The other idea is trying to get kids to have novel ways of remembering things in, well, for me it's in science. So if I talk about variables in science, I always forget, because we talk about independent, dependent and and constant variables. So I used to have this poster at the side of my classroom, so when I'm talking, so I don't appear like I don't know anything, I can point to it. Okay? A few days ago I was giving a lesson about the atmosphere, and I was thinking, which one's a stratosphere, which one's a mesosphere? And I just would have forgotten. I mean, do we need to know that? But we do need to know about variables in science. So the way we teach our year 7 and year 8 is we start off and we say that cows moo softly. And it's really stupid, so we remember it. So for every experiment, there's one thing we change, one thing we measure, and lots of things that we keep the same. So we just do that over and over and over again. When they get into year 9, because the hormones have kicked in, we actually say, I don't care. And they remember it. So then we have independent, dependent, and constant variables. And it just flows on. The other thing which we've done in our lessons, and I've promoted this really heavily over in India, is this poster on the exit door for your classroom. And it's really good because as a kid leaves the classroom, it says, if you've learnt something this lesson, give me 5. Kids very seldom clap hands at the end of a lesson. Okay, sometimes they do it for me, but normally if they leave the classroom and they hit this poster, that's telling me that they've actually learnt something. Also, it's telling them that they've learnt something. So they know that they're in the classroom to actually learn, not just to actually occupy space. Okay, we also started to get involved in any competition we could, because we now had a group of kids that were keen on science, so we thought, what can we do that we can get them involved in? So video competitions. This was actually, we won the People's Choice Award, so we had all of these push bikes that we won that connected to our computers. Also, trying to get kids outside doing activities in the bush, cleaning, they enjoy it. Oh, sorry that this is... Oh, cool, this is where I should get up to. Typewriter. Do people remember a typewriter? Yes. Okay, you see them in movies every once in a while, so even kids know what a typewriter is. But as a bit of trivia, on the top row of a typewriter keyboard or computer keyboard, what is the biggest word that you can make? So on QWERTY, jumble the words up. What is the biggest word that you can make? Everyone's going tick, 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 tick. Okay, right. I've actually given you a hint because I've told you, I've used the word, okay? And I've even placed it on the screen in front of you. Okay, it's typewriter. Okay. So think about that with technology. We try to type really fast, but isn't it coincidence that typewriter is the top on the keyboard? And that was because in the early days when they had keyboards, this was an old style typewriter, but the Remington typewriter had the keys, the arms that would come out and swing. And if you actually typed too fast, the arms would actually hit. But it was a painful experience because you didn't just touch type, you had to actually physically punch. So people that used to be involved in typing used to say that it was really painful, especially the A key, because it was right on the far left and with your pinky.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are 2 people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, there's not enough left to do, is there?
Hello? Hey, don't worry about it. I'll fix it in a second.
He said he could fix it. All right. All right. That's more like it. He says he can fix it.
Life is good when I see the sunlight in the morning. Lying in my bed, it's Monday 10 a.m. Walk across the room and open up the window. Feel the fresh air and the sunlight in my face. Life is good.
I was actually in Sydney and I was on an escalator and it actually stopped and I was just so tempted to do that. But it is amazing when we talk about technology and how we use technology but in a different way that our kids use it. If I talk about a Commodore 64, my kids at school think I'm talking about a car. Okay? Put up your hand if you ever had a Commodore 64. Wow, you don't look that old. But, okay. But it was amazing. The Commodore 64 had the floppy disk and you could actually put an extra little slot in the side so you could reverse it and get an extra 700K of memory. It was incredible. Okay, this is going to show age. Who remembers punch cards? Okay. Okay, at university, if you played football and you broke a finger or you broke a leg, you were not allowed to cry. If you dropped a whole pile of the cards, you were. Okay, but just think about how technology's changed. And I think about William, what is the technology going to be for him when he gets up to school age? At the moment, I mean, my old technology is the Commodore 64. For my kids at school, their old technology, they would talk about the iPhone 5. Probably William will have implants in his ear or something that he'll be able to use. Okay, the other thing is technology. My doctorate was on using technology in science and in fact data loggers. And I went out to schools and I'd survey teachers. You know, teachers didn't, or some teachers did not like the idea of using technology in the classroom because it stopped students from learning the skill of reading a thermometer. And we look at this. When I went to Ladakh, I actually organised with 2 girls in my science class for me to actually collect data. So whenever we'd stop, I would actually go around and I would take the blood pressure, the oxygen and the pulse rates of as many people that were with our crew that I could, so that they could analyse the effects of high altitude. About 10 years ago, one of these little things that you'd stick on the end of your finger when you went to hospital was about $900. Okay, really expensive. I remember fundraising to buy one for a hospital. I went to the local chemist and they were selling them for $90 and I thought, that's pretty cheap. went on eBay, bought one or I bought 3 for $30 each. And I thought, bargain. However, I actually looked on my phone when I was over in India that with your phone, there's actually an app that you can use to take your pulse and your oxygen level, and it doesn't cost anything. I wonder if I've got the right one here. Oh, no, that's not it. But it actually takes your pulse rate. Oh, sorry, I've just gone the wrong one. Trust me, it will take your pulse rate. Talk to me later and I'll show it to you. Through using the light. And kids can do an experiment at home that's just so accurate about the effects of exercise, the effects of caffeine. They can actually test their parents on the effects of alcohol. And they can do it super, super quick with no problems whatsoever. Okay, the only problems that we do face now is, you know, the hierarchy of needs that we have. You've got to be loved, you've got to have shelter and food. Well, Google actually updated that one, so now that it's actually Wi-Fi, but it's changed. It's actually now been updated. The one thing that you do need is battery life. Okay. I like this quote, "Don't believe everything on the internet," from Albert Einstein.
All right, let's do this. All right, ready?
That looked like it was true. Just put your hand up. You've either got to vote, I don't know, haven't got enough information, it was true or it wasn't true. So put up your hand if you say it was true. Put up your hand if you say it wasn't true. Okay, put up your hand if you say, oh, there's not enough information to decide. Yeah, look, I sort of go along with that, but I do know it's not true that it was made up. But it's a really good clip to show students, to actually talk about whether things are actually true or not. Put up your hand if you're a science teacher. Cool. There's a science video that you can find on YouTube, which is called Zombie. It's the science safety rules for zombie school. And I showed it to a class a couple of weeks ago, but there was one kid in the class, that's always, I've seen that. But he said, I've seen that. This is the one where the actors pretend to be zombies. And I didn't go there, and I thought, so he's just had this absolute belief that there are real zombies around. But okay, we are going to do one experiment because and you were nominated to volunteer, so please come up the front. And what's your first name?
Jesse.
Jesse, can we just give a That's enough. No more. Okay, Jesse, can you just jump on the chair for me? Actually, we're going to point you looking that way. There we go. Now just stand on it. Okay? Okay, if it breaks, you'll be the first to know. Or one of the first. Okay. Jesse, I would just want you to pretend you're Superman. Okay? You're not being blinded here. And I would just want you to lean forward and pretend just to fly. Cool, that's good. Don't lean too far because you'll put your foot through the screen. Okay, let's jump down. I'll move you forward so we can do this. So it's going to be really, really super, and so you don't get blind. You might just want to move just in case he falls on you. Jump up. There we go. Okay. Okay, leaning forward, Superman pose, terrific. He does that no problems whatsoever, because when we balance. When we talk about animals and cats balancing, it's normally because of, we say about their ears. And it is true to a certain extent for us that we do balance with our ears. If you get an ear infection, you might feel a bit wheezy. You definitely don't want to ride a motorbike. But, okay, back that way. When I count to 2, I want you to close your eyes. Now, I'm standing here because I'm going to pretend to catch him if he falls. Okay, but he weighs a lot, so we'll see. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Cool, well done. Okay, yep, that's it. Excellent. Was that a bit hard?
Slightly a bit harder.
Yeah, okay. Jump down. Give him a clap now. One of the things that, and if you're looking in lots of textbooks, they'll say this is the reason why balance is because of your ears. But really, it's a simple thing. It's because for us, it's our sight. So if you go on a boat and you feel like you get on the boat and the boat's going like this, then your eyes actually detect that there's no motion, but your ears do. And then your brain thinks, it must have been something I've just had to eat. So what do? You vomit. Now, if you vomit, your brain is then quite satisfied that you've got rid of the poison from your stomach, and then you feel okay. So, rule number 1, if you're on a boat and you're feeling sick, just vomit. Okay? Don't try and keep it in. The other thing, though, is because we're communal, we live with other people. If I was to eat something poisonous and I'm vomiting and I'm about to die, the chances are you probably just had the same meal. So we know with kids, if you go on a bus trip, if one kid vomits, straight away put the lid on the container because you don't want other kids to smell it, because straight when they smell it, their brain goes, I've got to vomit and get rid of this poison. So just remember that for excursions. Okay. I always try and plug the space camp trip that we do because it's absolutely fun, a tremendous trip. We've just came back this year, but the next one's September school holidays next year. We're looking at New York, Washington, Huntsville for the space camp, and then LA, doing all sciencey things, plus some theme parks. If you're interested, that's the website, and I've also got some flyers and some business cards I can hang out at the end. So, and if you're a teacher, it's 60 hours accredited with NESA. So, okay, can I pass back to Fred? Oh, thank you.
Firstly, may I thank Dr. Silburn for being an incredible inspiration to all the teachers for the work you've achieved in the classroom, in the community, and with your colleagues. Your passion, your enthusiasm, they're obviously key factors in the development of your enrichment programs. And you actually to be highly congratulated on the recognition that you've received worldwide. I was talking to Ken earlier, and he receives invitations to go overseas to various things on a termly basis, and really he deserves it. He's quite inspirational. I mean, as fellow teachers, we're humbled by your achievements and can only say how fortunate we have been tonight to hear about some of your amazing projects. that inspire, enrich, enthuse and engage the students in STEM-based interests. As you mentioned earlier, we must have our children engaging in science education. I hope we've all accepted your challenge to take the opportunities that are given to us so that we can enrich what we do both in our communities and in our classrooms. And thank you once again for taking the time out, because I know your schedule is very, very busy, as most teachers are, but to share the story from your so-called humble beginnings. In fact, I think I may have actually been teaching there when you were a student, to the absolutely prestigious heights of global recognition that you have at the moment. We thank you for your amazing work in teaching science.
Thank you.
Please accept this very small token. So our first recipient, Adele Lockman. Adele is a committed and dedicated visual arts teacher, middle school teacher and head of Chapman House. Adele Lockman is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales Teachers Recognition Award. Please congratulate her. Andrea Harries. Andrea Harries receives this award in recognition of her contribution to school improvement framework implementation, evidence-based early literacy and numeracy learning, curriculum and pedagogical leadership. Andrea Harries is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Please congratulate Andrea. Brett Creedman. As the leader of learning at Shaw School, Brett has taken a particular lead in designing and nurturing the large coaching program. His expertise and patient manner with colleagues has assisted with the success of the program. Brett has also driven the creation of Staffed Professional Learning blog, and his leadership with the Elevate project puts him at the forefront of educational innovation at Shaw and within the wider AIS. Brett Creedman is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Carmelo Aragoni. We congratulate Carmelo on his outstanding informal mentoring within his own department, across other departments, and in forging inter-school projects with other schools. Carmelo's leadership, specifically in relation to project-based learning, has established him as a driving force for innovation and change. His use of technology and his role in the Elevate project ensure that he is at the forefront of pedagogical leadership at Shaw School. He is widely respected by his peers and the school community. Carmelo Aragoni is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Diane Goulis. Diane Goulis is a highly capable teacher who demonstrates outstanding content knowledge and builds strong relationships with her students. She has engendered a love of teaching tourism, hospitality and business at the Vocational Education and Training Colleges and TAFE, which has allowed her to share her knowledge and industry experience with her students. Diane Goulis is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales Teachers Recognition Award. Alyssa Leray. Alyssa Leray has been instrumental in the promotion of student wellbeing and positive psychology throughout the junior school at Lakes Grammar for 2 decades. She has tirelessly implemented a school-wide peer support program with great effectiveness and has been an instrumental member of our Student Wellbeing Committee, resulting in the school gaining official accreditation as a Kids Matter school. Alyssa is an exceptional teacher whom our school community appreciates and highly regards the consistent positive impact and growth that she's had in students year after year. Alyssa Leray is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Emily Grant. Emily Grant is an enthusiastic humanities educator who is devoted to the profession of teaching. Emily is a teacher who sets high expectations and motivates students to excel beyond their believed capabilities. Over the past 6 years of her career, Emily's students have achieved outstanding results, particularly in the HSC course Society and Culture, which is her area of expertise. Emily has facilitated a range of workshops and PD opportunities to support her colleagues with innovative teaching practice notions, and most recently addressed the need to build greater awareness for gifted and talented students. Through her genuine care for each learner and their right to quality education, Emily is a teacher who makes a difference to the lives of young individuals. Emily Grant is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Emma Smith. Emma Smith is an exceptional teacher who is completely dedicated to the students in her care. She willingly shares her curricular and pedagogical knowledge with other team members and constructively contributes to professional dialogue with a knowledge of the latest research and best practice in education. Emma achieves excellent results with the students in her care, academically, pastorally and spiritually, and is very highly regarded by our school community for her capacity as an educator. Emma Smith is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Greg Asquith. Greg Asquith is a dedicated educator and gifted leader of staff. He has a genuine capacity to utilise contemporary and effective pedagogy and builds a wonderful rapport with his students and school families. Greg Asquith is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Jennifer Gregg. Jennifer Gregg is currently the Deputy Principal Instructional Leader at Merrylands East Public School. Her role includes the ongoing professional development of teachers in literacy and numeracy based on research and evidence. Prior to her current role, Jennifer was the most senior reading recovery tutor in the New South Wales Department of Education Ultimate Operations Network, with responsibility of overseeing the reading recovery program as the most experienced trainer, while at the same time training teachers at the Bankstown Granville area. She spent 8 years as a reading recovery tutor and has made tremendous impact on so many teachers in professional development as reading recovery teachers. Jennifer is held in high esteem by her colleagues in so many schools and regularly shares her work with others. And in so doing, she has trained 2 of the Merrylands East Public School teachers who have become highly experienced literacy teachers and catalysts for change in the school, while being researchers themselves. Jennifer Gregg is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Jennifer Noble. Jennifer Noble has been at Merrylands East Public School with the current principal for the past 12 years as a classroom teacher and later as an assistant principal, deputy principal, instructional leader. She's been instrumental in the transformational changes at Merrylands East, from learning spaces to the change of school hours from 8 a.m. to 1:15, a first in New South Wales and Australian schools. Jennifer's role includes the support and provision of students with learning difficulties and disabilities to ensure that reasonable adjustments have been made in classroom teachers' learning programs. She regularly meets with staff and parents to develop personalised learning plans, records and displays data, and implements change pedagogy based on research and evidence. She supports colleagues from all around Australia while they visit Merrylands East by conducting professional learning in change management. She is widely recognised by her colleagues and parents who will often seek her advice about learning. Jennifer Noble is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Catherine Reid. Catherine Reid has consistently demonstrated initiative, creativity and excellent teaching practices in her day-to-day interactions with her students and colleagues. She is highly professional and is clearly committed to seeing each and every student improve their learning outcomes. Catherine leads THRAS as an educational initiative and has shared her work at mastery and lead level training courses across Australia for staff members, leadership teams and curriculum leaders. She is an outstanding role model to students and staff with a genuine desire to foster creativity and curiosity, in which her classroom was featured in the Future Leaders magazine. Catherine is truly an exemplar 21st century teacher and a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Katie Brett. Katie Brett is a creative, passionate and dedicated educator who inspires her students and colleagues to greater heights. She shows tremendous initiative in seeking out whatever she needs to perform her job in an exemplar fashion. She pursues departmental problems with vigour and a sense of urgency and clearly enjoys a challenge. She focuses sharply and intensely and stays with the problem until it is solved, but also demonstrates great flexibility in resetting priorities and adjusting plans when necessary. She is to be congratulated on her outstanding achievement in staff development and management and student learning. Katie Brett is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Leah Brown. Leah Brown is an exemplary young teacher who has demonstrated a passion for working with students with diverse learning needs. She's incredibly well organised and is dedicated to the students with whom she works. Leah is a contributor to the wider school community in numerous ways. She's actively involved in debating and public speaking as a coach and an adjudicator. Leah is also widely involved in our pastoral and outreach program and is actively engaged in evangelism with our students. She's already a well-respected member of our college faculty who will certainly continue to grow as a professional. Leah Brown is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Leonie Black. Leonie Black is nurturing, inspiring and impactful. She believes in the power of evidence-based practice and professional development in building the capacity of her staff. Leonie has worked hard to establish a culture of continuous improvement at John Purchase Public School, where staff and students aspire to move forward in their learning every day. So far, she has taken the school on a visible learning and formative assessment journey, which has enabled our students to become goal-directed, self-regulated learners. Leonie Black is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Louise Pinkstone. Louise Pinkstone is a teacher of the highest calibre. Her wisdom and attention to detail are beyond compare. On countless occasions, parents readily cite her as a transformative influence on their daughter's educational journey. Louise Pinkstone is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Recognition Award. Lucy Burtz. Lucy Burtz is an inspiring and passionate educator, demonstrating exemplary curriculum planning, differentiation and content delivery. She is an outstanding collaborator and team member who delivers a fast-paced, compacted curriculum and understands the express needs of gifted and talented students. Lucy has exceeded all expectations in her co-curricular endeavours. She has introduced philosophy from kindergarten, the IPA directed the Sydney Learning Festival and invented brilliant reward and motivational initiatives for her students. She has been heavily involved in marketing and special events and is always prepared to lend a hand. She has actively sought and completed postgraduate qualifications in gifted education. Her willingness and involvement in all school events are outstanding. Lucy Burtz is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Margaret Rees. Margaret Rees is an experienced and exemplary infants and primary educator whose expertise in special education is highly regarded by both colleagues and parents alike. By actively contributing to the professional development of other staff members, she has shared her knowledge freely for the benefit of all students. Her expertise and many years of service to the school have allowed her to take a broad perspective when making decisions, and her ability to look at the big picture and understand how various issues and problems interrelate has made her an extremely effective decision maker. She inspires her team members to excellence and is always willing to coach, advise and encourage. Margaret Rees is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Mark Oakley. Mark Oakley has been at Trinity for 9 years, teaching visual arts and photography and digital media. He has written excellent programs for these courses with a strong focus on the middle school curriculum. Mark has managed the photographic darkroom facilities and maintained the Mac Lab for visual arts and photography and digital media students in middle school. Mark has also taken on responsibility for the Festival of Arts concept and planning for Year 7 and 8 students, an annual all-day art activity. This involves group work for 200 students to create separate units that all come together as a final artwork at the end of the day, an extraordinary feat. Mark has run a visual arts co-curricular group after school and has produced colourful murals for an aged care home in Burwood. In his spare time, he plays in a teacher's rock band and is involved in corporate staff games. Mark Oakley is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Matilda Baxter. Matilda is an exceptional teacher who is completely dedicated to the students in her care. We congratulate Matilda for her outstanding contribution as an early career teacher to the MLC community. Matilda Baxter is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Maxine Whelan. Maxine Whelan is an exceptional teacher who is completely dedicated to the students in her care. She has been responsible for influencing positive changes in the EALD policy within the school and is a collaborative and professional leader of her team. Her experience and knowledge in her field are well regarded by her colleagues and the external agency with whom she liaises. And as a result of this experience, she's able to take a broad perspective on problem solving. We congratulate her on her creative and innovative ways to support EALD students in mainstream classrooms. Maxine Whelan is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Natalie Walker. We congratulate Natalie, who's recently been married and is now Natalie Weston. Natalie is an early career teacher who displays commitment to the teaching profession and demonstrates complete dedication to her students and school. She prides herself on inspiring students through inquiry-based lessons and by designing problem-solving activities. Natalie empowers her students to ask challenging questions and think critically and creatively. Natalie speaks French and German and looks forward to further contributing these talents to the life of her school. She looks forward to developing Lunchtime Languages Club and an after-school club to promote modern languages. Natalie believes that as we are rising students for a world that we do not know the jobs for as yet, they will be applying learning languages can develop creativity and promote curiosity for another culture. Natalie Weston is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Rose Garofano. A highly experienced and passionate educator, Rose has made a significant impact in each of the schools she has worked at over the past 22 years. Rose is a highly effective educator and leader who aims to create a positive and engaging learning environment through a deep knowledge of best practice. Rose Garofano is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. Sarah Torr. Sarah Torr is an inspiring educator who is passionate about information communication technology. In particular, she is committed to encouraging more female students to study the subject. In 2016, she conducted action research with her classes to investigate reasons behind girls not choosing ICT in Year 9 and beyond. This resulted in her rewriting the Stage 5 program to make it more innovative and stimulating. In addition, she organised a range of dynamic co-curricular activities with experts from the field to enhance students' understanding of ICT and recognise its relevance and importance for the future. As a result, students have been far more motivated in this subject, and approximately 1/4 of the Year 8 cohort, including girls, have elected ICT as a Stage 5 elective in 2018. Sarah Torr is a worthy recipient of the 2017 Teachers Guild of New South Wales World Teachers Recognition Award. It's my great pleasure this evening to be able to award our Research Commended Award to Lauren Nussin from the University of Technology, Sydney, who was commended by the judging panel at the Teachers Guild of New South Wales Research Award for her excellent research presentation on novice primary teachers' design practices for technology integrated learning. One of the important criteria for our research award is that it be given for research that has direct benefit to classroom teachers. And Lauren's selection for the Commended Award thus bespeaks the fact that she's making a very tangible and valuable contribution to our profession. Please congratulate Lauren. And our last award for the evening is an Honorary Fellows Award. The award of Honorary Fellowship is achieved by self-nomination or peer nomination, and candidates must have an extensive long-term involvement in education, which may be in one or more of the following or other categories which might be deemed relevant: school education, preschool education, tertiary education, technical or vocational education, adult professional development, community education, and also meet another 3 rigorous criteria. For more information about the Guild's Honorary Fellowships, the information is available on our website. But it does give me great pleasure to be able to present this award to the following distinguished educator: David Van Tol. David has taught history, geography and commerce in a range of secondary educational settings for almost 20 years. These include independent and government schools, co-educational, single-sex boys and girls schools, and in the international school sector. In that time, he's been an assistant head of department and dean of faculty of both HISI and history departments. Most recently, he was appointed as the inaugural Dean of HISI, Head of History at Trinity Grammar School. He has co-authored or authored 8 history textbooks, including 2 written for the current HSC Modern History course, and 1 soon due for release for the new Year 11 Modern History syllabus, published by Sanjay Nelson. He's also the principal coordinating author of the Pearson History New South Wales 7 to 10 series. David has been an HSC marker of modern history, ancient history and history extension, and was a judge on the standard setting panel in 2012 for history extension. He has also been an HSC business studies marker and an IB history examiner of paper 2. David has lectured on behalf of the New South Wales History Teachers Association at HSC study days on the topics of Russia and the Soviet Union, Leon Trotsky and Albert Speer. In 2016, he was awarded the Winona Teaching Fellowship, which came with a $10,000 grant to develop his teaching expertise in ancient history. This allowed David to take part in the Pompeii Food and Drink Project, which is conducted under the auspices of the American Institute of Archaeology. Mr. David Van Tol is a worthy recipient of the Teachers Guild of New South Wales Honorary Fellowship Award. Please congratulate David.